What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna be working on my 2006 Chrysler 300. So a couple of months ago I did a 2JZ swap and I've been doing nothing but driving it. That's why it's kind of filthy. So today I want to install a muffler, and I also got a couple of services that I want to do. But before I do that, I'm gonna show you guys how it looks under the hood. So the engine has been really reliable. Most of the time that I drive it, I abuse it and I haven't had a problem. The only thing I did notice was that it was leaking oil from the fittings that go to the catch can. I haven't connected the catch can, so I'm gonna see if I can do that today. Anything other than that, I just been driving it and abusing it and having fun with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it for a drive right now. Then I'm gonna put it inside of the shop. I'm gonna clean the engine a little bit. I'm gonna see if I hook up the catch can, and I also want to install my muffler and do an oil change. Then once I do that, I'm gonna take it for another drive. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive it, and I'll throw it back inside the shop. Okay, so I'm gonna take it for a quick drive. I'm just gonna let it warm up real quick. I mean, the fan kicked in, so it's already warm enough to abuse it. That's how the exhaust sounds. Just have a straight pipe underneath. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive it real quick. Okay, so there it is. So I'm gonna drive it inside of the shop, and I'm gonna put that exhaust on, and I'm also gonna do an oil change and a couple of other things. I got the car on the lift, and believe it or not, it's been sitting here for 2 weeks. I've been busy doing other things, so I didn't get a chance to work on it. But today, hopefully I get everything done. I'm not gonna do much. I'm just gonna put the exhaust, and I wanna do an oil change. I also want to install my catch can, because I'm pretty sure there's some oil buildup underneath the car. Those catch can fittings, they've been leaking a lot of oil. They've been spitting oil every time I floor it. And I'm already tired of getting my valve covers soaked in oil. And I'm pretty sure there's a good amount of oil sitting underneath the intake, and it's probably leaking down the intake. So I want to take care of that. I haven't seen any oil leaks underneath the car, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some oil leaking. So I want to take care of that. And the exhaust, I do like loud cars, but sometimes, you know, they're too loud. And this is like a family car, and I want it to sound a little bit more smooth. It's too loud, you know, it's too loud. And even on low RPMs, sometimes you floor it, and on low RPMs, it takes a minute. This is a big turbo. It takes a minute for the turbo to spool. It's not a huge turbo, but for the engine, it's a little bit too big. You know, it takes a minute for the engine to spool it. And sometimes people look at you funny because the car takes a minute, you know, it's loud and it's not going anywhere. It takes a minute, then it takes off. But, you know, I'd rather have no noise on low RPMs, and then once it spools up and it goes, then I don't mind if it's loud. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for now. Then maybe later on I'm gonna do other upgrades, but for now I'm just gonna take care of that exhaust, oil change, and just fix a couple of things that need to be fixed, but mainly oil leaks. Okay, so I'm gonna get it up in the air, and let's take a look underneath. Let's see what's going on. Alright, so I expect to see some oil. Alright, so I'm gonna go underneath, and the front looks pretty dry, so there's no oil leaks on the front. This fitting right here, it's a little bit soaked, but not a big deal. But everything else is pretty dry. Going to the back, there's no oil leak on the oil pan. Everything is nice and dry except for the back of the oil pan. So there is some oil over here. It looks like it's coming from this side, the starter. There's a little bit of oil on the connectors. And over there on the intake, I don't know if you guys are able to see, but you won't be able to see, but there is a little bit of oil. So it looks like it's dripping from the intake, just like I imagined. There is oil coming from the intake because of the fittings from the valve covers. So I'm gonna have to take care of those. I mean, anything other than that, there's no oil on the rear main. I mean, there's a little bit of oil, but it's not like dripping. I know it's not coming from the rear main. So I don't know if I'm able to remove this cover. So there's no oil on the rear main. So I'm assuming the little bit of oil I have, it's coming from the fittings on the valve covers. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect my catch can. I'm gonna clean everything else. I'm gonna connect my catch can, and we'll see. I'm gonna drive it again, and then we'll see if it doesn't leak anymore. The other problem I noticed, this fitting over here, it's leaking. This is for the transmission. So I got two fittings. One is over here. This one's pretty dry, and this one over here, it's leaking a little bit of oil. So I'm gonna fix that. And another thing on the exhaust, there was a plastic bag flying on the freeway, and I ran over the plastic bag, and I guess it just melted on my tailpipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the whole exhaust. I'm gonna clean this up, and I think I'm gonna cut somewhere. I'm gonna cut somewhere over here, and then I'm gonna put my muffler And I'm gonna do a muffler. I'm gonna do one pipe with a muffler, and I'm gonna do another pipe just straight to the back. So whenever I want the car to be a little louder, I'll just bolt on my straight pipe, and whenever I don't want the car to be loud, I'm just gonna connect my muffler. But for now, I'm gonna put a muffler on. Another thing I wanted to show you guys, I want to do an oil change, and here's my filter. So I mean, it's easy to access, but the drain plug is sitting right above this cross member. So it's sitting somewhere. So there it is, it's sitting right here. So that's gonna be a little bit of a challenge to get to the drain plug. And I don't want to make a mess either on the cross member, so I'm gonna have to figure something out. I'm gonna have to put something underneath so I don't soak this with oil. I don't want oil leaking through the holes. There's a bunch of holes, and then the oil usually it'll run everywhere. So I'm gonna have to figure something out so I don't make a mess, but I will get to it. I'm gonna go ahead and drain the oil. I'm gonna be using Mobile, so this is full synthetic. I don't want to be doing oil changes every 3,000 miles, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. It should last me at least 5,000 miles. You know, I'm just gonna use the Fram oil filter. I always use Fram. You know, I'm not gonna say all oil filters are the same, but I've been using this one, and I mean, I've never had a problem with my motor. So I'm gonna start draining that oil. Okay, I'm draining the oil, and what I did is I raised the engine a little bit, just put a piece of wood, and I just put tape all around it. That way I don't make a mess, but I mean, hopefully I don't make a mess. And I already replaced my oil filter, so there's my new oil filter. So I'm gonna finish draining this, and I'm just gonna add the new oil. Here's my dirty oil. There's no metal debris, so I'm happy. And I mean, I definitely needed to change the oil. I did drove it like 7 months without changing the oil. So I was supposed to change it sooner, but I was so busy I didn't get a chance to service the car, to even bring it inside and put it on the lift. But I'm glad I did. And I'm gonna finish draining the oil. Then I was gonna do the exhaust, but before I do the exhaust, I'm gonna fix this fitting for the transmission. Then I'm gonna do probably the catch can, and I'm gonna leave the exhaust till the end. Okay, so this one over here, it's leaking a little bit. So this one's a simple fix. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the hose like right here, and I'm gonna remove probably the old piece. It probably didn't seal properly. I'm gonna reuse the same fitting. If it leaks again, then I'll just replace the fitting. But I think it's the hose. It probably didn't go in all the way, or it probably got pushed back, or something happened. But like I said, I'm gonna reuse the fitting, and if it leaks again, then I'll just replace the fitting. Here's my piece of hose. And apparently I didn't install it properly, so I just forced it in and it didn't seal properly. So this is the mistake I made. You're supposed to grab tape and put tape around them. So you put tape around them where you're gonna cut them, and then you cut them, and then you force them in, and you get a better chance of not leaking. And that's what I did on this one over here. So this time I put a piece of tape, and it went all the way in. You can't see it because I already put grease, but I mean, it was a lot easier to push it in with when you put tape. I don't know if I did the same thing with the other one, but the other one's not leaking. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back on, and if it leaks again, then I'll get another fitting, but I don't think it's gonna leak anymore. Okay, so this one, it was an easy fix. So once I finish the car, I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna make sure it doesn't leak anymore. Now I'm gonna move on to the catch can. So the first thing I'm gonna do before I forget, I'm gonna add oil. I don't want to forget about it, and later on, you know, you turn it on without oil and it'll be expensive if you do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and add, I think it takes 6 quarts of oil. I'm just gonna add 6, and then I'm gonna start doing that catch can. I don't know where I'm gonna mount it. There is space to mount it, but that's why I didn't put it in the first place, because I don't know where I want to mount it. If anything, I'm just gonna put it on the bottom, and I'm gonna run the lines to the bottom. I don't really want to put it on top, because I'm gonna have to run like super long lines. Like definitely on the back, there's no room to put it, and I don't want to put it on this side because that's where the AC is, and I don't want all the fumes to go inside the cab. So I gotta figure it out. I gotta see where I'm gonna mount it. But first, let's add oil. I got my catch can over here. it's kind of dusty. It's been sitting for a while since I put the car together. I got the catch can, I never installed it. And over here you're able to see all the oil that it was leaking on the head, and it was just dripping through the intake. There's more oil back there. You should be able to see it. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything, and I'm gonna connect that catch can. And damn, this thing, I mean, there was a lot of oil. So I'm gonna clean everything. I'm gonna connect that catch can. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna mount it, and that should take care of my oil leak. I honestly couldn't find a place to put the catch can. I thought about putting it in here, but it doesn't fit. So, and I don't want it anywhere. Like, I don't want it right here. I don't want it here. I don't want it here. There's no space on the back. So I think I'm just gonna mount it somewhere underneath. So I'm gonna raise the car, and I think the perfect spot is gonna be somewhere on the back underneath the intake. I think there's a decent amount of space to mount it there, but we'll see. I'm gonna bring it up and I'm gonna take a look underneath. Okay, so the only place I was able to find, I'm not gonna put it on this side because there's the exhaust and there's no other place. I don't want to put it on the front. So the only place I was able to find is right here. So I should be able to put it right here, no problem. There's not a lot of room. It's not gonna interfere with the steering shaft. So I'm just gonna do a bracket right here, and this is where I'm gonna leave it. So I just did a quick bracket. I got a piece of metal, and then I did 4 holes, and I just put a little angle. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt it on now. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna move the catch can a little bit to the left because I don't want any interference with the steering shaft, but I mean, I have a lot of room. It should clear no problem. I already installed 1 hose. So there's one, and here's the other one. They're pretty simple to make. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the second one. Okay, so here's my oil catch can. I already make sure that the steering shaft is not gonna hit on any of the lines. So now I wanna replace the spark plugs. I got a set of spark plugs, and I also got some boots for the coils with the little coil. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace the spark plugs, the boots, and the little coils. They have like little coils in the back. I have a misfire on the car. On idle, there's like a little misfire. So now that I'm doing all of this, I wanna make sure it's running 100%. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace this as well. So here's one of the spark plugs. This is cylinder number 1, and it doesn't look that bad for using 87. Don't use 87. I was being a cheap ass. That's why my spark plug looks like this. Use 89 or higher. I'm gonna stop being a cheap ass, and I'm gonna use 91 from now on. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace the rest of them. These are the old spark plugs, and they're all covered in 87 octane. So I'm not gonna use 87 anymore. I was using it just because I was being a cheap ass, but I knew better. I had a misfire. Hopefully that fixes the misfire. So I replaced the little coils that go inside the coils, the boots, and the spark plugs. I'm gonna go ahead and do the exhaust now. I'm just gonna add the muffler. I still don't know what I want to do on it. I'm like undecided. I'm gonna be using this muffler. It's a MagnaFlow. It's a 3-inch inlet and outlet, and I'm gonna be using this tip. I couldn't find anything. I don't really like it, but I mean, I'm okay with the muffler. The tip, I'm not that crazy about it, but I couldn't find anything else. So I'm just gonna make it work for now. Okay, so I'm almost done with the exhaust. I gotta finish welding it together. I didn't finish, most of it is welded, but I just stacked some pieces together. So I just gotta finish welding this piece, and the flange, and I'm almost done. So this is how it's gonna look. It is what it is. I'm gonna leave it like that for now. We'll see once I put it on the floor. We'll see how it looks, but I mean, I like it. I'm okay with it, the way it came out. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish welding that, and I'm gonna take the car out, and I'm gonna drive it. I'm gonna drive it, and I'm gonna see how it sounds. And there it is. I'm pretty much done with it. I welded everything together. I still need a little bit more practice on welding, but I mean, I'm doing a lot better now, but I still need a lot of practice. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drive it out, and let's see how it sounds. I finally finished it, so here it is. I still gotta do a couple of other things, but I'll do those later on. I washed it because it was filthy. I was also cleaning the interior. Let me show you guys real quick. So I removed the seat, and I did the best I could to clean the interior because it was really filthy. So I still gotta clean it. I'm not done, but I'll do that later on. So let me show you guys how the exhaust looks. So that's the tip. And what I like about the car is that it still looks like a base model Chrysler 300. I want to keep the looks like a base model. And let me show you guys what I did on the exhaust. Okay, so this is the muffler. This is the tip, the muffler. And I just did like 2 angles, and I connected the angles to the rest of the exhaust. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on for you guys right now. So as you guys can see, it's not loud anymore. It's actually super quiet, and I like it. It goes with the car. Let me go ahead and open the hood. Okay, so I only did a couple of things. I replaced the spark plugs. I replaced the boots for the coils, the little coils that go inside the coils. And what else did I do? I ran my 2 catch can hoses. So hopefully I won't see any more oil under the car. It wasn't leaking. It was just like the oil pan. I noticed it was like a little bit soaked, but anything other than that, I didn't see like a puddle or anything like that. And I knew it was the fittings for the catch can. The other thing I gotta do, the compressor, the bearing, it's making a noise every time I rev it up. And I already ordered the kit for the compressor. I ordered the bearing and the clutch kit. So I'm gonna be fixing those because it's making a little noise every time I hit the gas. You're able to hear it. So I'm gonna fix that later on. Now that I put a muffler on, I'm able to hear the blow off and also the turbo, so that's kind of cool. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I really like this turbo, but it's too big for the engine. It's like a 96 AR, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, so it's a 96. This housing is a 96. The engine is all stock, so I think it's a little too big for the engine. So I'm not gonna be keeping the turbo for too long. Drift Motion came out with a new ball bearing turbo. It's like a 6262, so I'm gonna buy that turbo and I'm gonna swap it. I like this one because it looks big and it looks nice with the engine, but I mean, it's not spooling fast enough, so I think I'm gonna have to switch it. But maybe later on, if I throw cams and maybe higher compression, I'll probably bolt it back on. But for now, it's gonna have to go. I'm only gonna drive it like this for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or 2, and then I'm swapping out the turbo. I'm gonna be taking the car for a drive right now, but before I do, I want you guys to listen to the blow off. I was planning on driving the car, but I don't want to make this video too long, and I know I already went past the 20th minute, so I'm gonna have to stop here. I'm gonna make a separate video where I'm gonna be driving the car and I'm gonna go into detail on some of the things that I want to do to the car. So that's gonna be it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I want to hear from you guys. I'm new making videos. Some people comment that I repeat myself too much, and I do, because I'm new doing this. I've been working on cars for a while, but I'm not really good at recording and talking about the cars, so I'm learning. It's a process. But I mean, any questions, any suggestions, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think and give me tips. You know, tell me what you guys would like to see and what content I should make. I mean, any feedback is helpful, so I appreciate you guys watching my videos. So thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.